Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to your one-stop shop for everything Season 9 Hearthstone Battlegrounds. I will be releasing videos here daily about all the reveals as they happen, but I also have a shorts series, TLDR, that covers the most important parts of the reveals in a shorter format. You can check out the TLDR for this video at the link in the description. Today's video is going to cover the announcement blog post as well as the first 3 reveals for minion types. We have neutral, we also have spells, as well as mech. I've included chapters in case you'd like to skip around to specific parts, and if you've read the post already and you're curious about my take on tokens, I made a video about it, which you can check out by clicking the top right now. We'll discuss tokens here in the capacity that they're in the blog post, but if we want to get more into the nitty-gritty about how I feel about them, that would be the place to find that. All right, we have a ton to cover, not a lot of time to do it. Let's go. The first thing we see in our blog post is that we get our starting date for the new season, which is December 3rd. On December 3rd, like in every other season, your MMR will reset and trinkets will be rotating out. We also see at this point that we've been introduced to tokens, which we don't know what those are yet, so we'll get there. It also says we've got 3 new heroes, which we'll be discussing later on, as well as a massive minion refresh. 90 minions are leaving, 90 new and returning minions, and 11 new spells across battlegrounds and duos. This season, the card library on the website is going to be updated alongside the reveals, but you can also find more information about them through creator videos. I'm going to be releasing a video every day. Next, we see a pretty big change. We have a change to the damage cap. This change is only for solo battlegrounds, not for duos. Damage cap now starts at 5 damage until turn 4, where it goes to 10, and then turn 8 it goes to 15. It still goes away when there's a top 4, but until then, it kind of negates any early crazy damage like facing AFK on turn 3, and I think at one point or another we've all taken 6 damage from Terran on like turn 2 from getting a bonehead, so like pretty happy with this. And now we see tokens. Tokens have one use in Battlegrounds, and that is to re-roll your heroes. It costs 1 token per re-roll, and there are multiple ways to get these tokens. If you are free to play, there are 8 tokens on the rewards track. Additionally, the season pass, which we've had for a long time, the $15 season pass, has 25 Battlegrounds tokens on the rewards track. And now we have a brand new season pass. It's the Battlegrounds Season Pass Plus. And this is $20. It's an extra $5, and that allows you 1 free reroll per game. So you can't stack these up. It's a use it or lose it. If you do choose to purchase the Season Pass and decide you want to upgrade to the Season Pass Plus, you can spend the extra $5 to do so. Once the season goes live on December 3rd, everyone will get 2 free tokens, and there will be 4 more free redeemable in the shop. Tokens are also going to be included in drops now. So if you get Twitch drops, on December 2nd, we have a preview event where creators are going to be playing the new season early, and there will be Twitch drops activated at that time. So you get 2 every 1 hour of watching, and you can get up to 4. So 2 hours of watching gives you 4 tokens. Important to note that you can only re-roll each hero option 1 time. That means that if you are free to play, you only have 2 re-rolls per game, hypothetically, and if you have a pass, you have 4 rerolls per game, hypothetically. On the rewards track, there are StarCraft skins on there, and we saw the StarCraft mini set announcement during the Warcraft 30 year. It seems to be that those skins, even if you unlock them earlier, will not be available to you until February. Just like the last time we had a minion shakeup, the same thing is happening where certain minion types are entering at different times. It is a much more abbreviated schedule this time though. So we have our reveal week going into next week. Every day we're seeing some reveals except for the weekend. December 2nd, we have our preview event, and then December 3rd, the patch goes live with Beast, Dragon, Quillbore, Pirate, Naga, and Mech. On December 5th, 2 days later, Murloc and Demon are added to the pool, followed by Undead and Elemental on December 9th. So by the end of that week, we will have all of the minion types in. There is at the bottom of the blog post a frequently asked questions section about tokens and about some of the changes, and I highly recommend, if you're curious about why some of this stuff is happening, reading that. It gives really nice answers to some questions that as soon as you heard this information, you probably immediately have. So that's everything for the blog post. Let's move on to our minion type reveals. First up is neutral. So the way we're going to cover minion type reveals is what is leaving, what's changing, and then what's new or returning. There are a good chunk of neutral minions that are staying in the game, so I'm not going to read out all of those. We have 7 neutral minions leaving. The first one, and one of the most notable ones, I think, is Feyric's Wrath of the Sun on tier 3, which was the Avenge 4 give a random friendly minion Divine Shield. How are you going to give your minions Divine Shield? It'll all make sense. Next leaving is the Witch Wing Nest Matron on tier 4, the Avenge 3 get a random Battlecry minion. I love this minion so much, and it comes and it goes and it comes and it goes, and I'm sad to see it go again. Also on tier 4, Rendell the Mr. Mind is leaving. This was the end of turn, steal the highest tier card from the tavern. Next up, this isn't technically neutral, it's technically everything. This is the Motley Phalanx on tier 4, which was the Taunt Death Rattle, give a friendly minion of each type +2/+1 permanently. Following that is the very infamous Lucky Egg on tier 5 of a Battlecry, discover a golden tier 3 minion to transform into. Especially after the Golden Goose trinket change, I feel like this minion, this poor minion, stood no chance about making people happy. On tier 6, Nala the Redeemer is leaving, which is so sad. I had so much fun playing Nala Alliance. Nice menagerie unit. Sad to see Nala go. Whenever you cast a tavern spell, give a friendly minion of each type +2/+2. And last leaving is the Sunscreener on tier 6. Give you and your opponents 3 leftmost minions Divine Shield, the start of combat effect. That was the most tech minion that I think has ever existed in this game. There's only one neutral minion changing, and again, this isn't technically a neutral minion, it's an all-typed minion, the Arid Atrocity, and also technically not changing, just a verbiage change. Instead, it reads now Death Rattle, summon a 7/7 golem improved by each friendly minion type that died this combat. So actually, I guess nothing's really changing. Now, as for our new and returning neutral minions, the first one, I said it would all make sense. This is the tier 2 Selfless Hero is back. This was a 2/1 Death Rattle, give a random friendly minion Divine Shield. I actually really loved this minion, so I'm really happy to see it back. On tier 3, we have a new minion. This is Resourceful Soldier. It's a 2/5, choose one. Give a minion +5/+2 or +2/+5. That is a tempo minion if I have ever seen one. Coming to tier 5, we have the Mutated Lasher. This is a 7/3. Death Rattle. For the rest of this combat, your odd tier minions have +2/+3. This is a really interesting minion to have as a neutral minion because it supports very specific minion types. This minion itself is an odd tiered minion, and there's a good note here that tokens are usually odd tier, right? Because like the things that you summon, like the little 1/1 skeletons and the Mana Saber summons, the Couplings, like all of those are very tiny little minions that are 1/1, so they're going to have that effect. Not to mention Rivendare is an odd minion, which is also on tier 5, which can work with the Mutated Lasher as a Death Rattle. We had the whole odd and even thing going on before this most recent minion shakeup, so kind of interesting to see this back in this capacity. Next, on tier 6, we have a minion that's coming back, but changed. This is Saloon Dancer. It's a 4/5. Taunt, whenever you cast a tavern spell, give 2 other friendly minions +4/+4. So Saloon Dancer used to be in the game on a lower tier and gave +3/+3, so now it gives +4/+4. And it does give other friendly minions, so it's not minion type specific, and I think that makes it like a pretty versatile addition, especially because one Amalgam Tour group is still in the game. So having like a Saloon Dancer, one Amalgam Tour group, you got some buffs going on. And last but not least for our neutral minions, on tier 6 we have the Silver Handed Recruit. Is a 4/4 Battlecry. Give your other even tiered minions +4/+4. That is interesting. So our odd tier has Death Rattle, and our even tier has a Battlecry. Don't mind me, I'm just thinking about some fun memes we can do. All right, the blog post discussed 3 new heroes. So we have our new heroes and we also have some hero changes. Marin has got a little bit of a change in the way of trinket inclusions. So if any of Marin's trinkets were around a specific minion and that minion is out of the game, then those trinkets are obviously removed as well. Gallywix has the benefit of no longer being banned in elemental lobbies. Shudderwock has a small change, trigger a friendly minion's Battlecry. Already existed, but it now unlocks on turn 3. So you cannot use it on turns 1 and 2. I'm pretty intrigued by this change and what exactly caused it, but also Shudderwock is such a good hero, so I think that this is very valid. Lich Bazial is also seeing a change. For 2 gold, steal a card from the tavern, take 2 damage. So no longer takes damage equal to the card's tavern tier, it's just 2 damage. 2 gold, 2 damage. Pay money for same amount of ouchies. We now have our 3 new heroes. The first one in the blog post was Farseer Nobundo for 3 gold, get a copy of the last tavern spell you cast. Each turn, your next hero power costs 1 less. Now, after you use your hero power, it will reset back to 3. I feel like this could be really useful in the later games when those spells cost just a little bit more. I also like the idea of maybe in the very early game getting like a strike oil, and by that time, your hero power probably costs 1 or 0, so you get another one for free, right? And then you can just start banking some money. Yeah, because it's the last tavern spell you cast. So even if you didn't cast, like, okay, you play a strike oil and then you use your hero power on turn 3 because it's really cheap, and you play another one. And then the next turn, if you really wanted to, which you probably shouldn't, but like you can push the button and get another one, or you do the same thing with like Eyes of the Earth Mother. I think I really like this. Next we have Zerek Master Cloner. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. This is 0 gold. Summon an exact copy of a friendly minion once per game. So if you used the Faceless Manipulator trinket in the trinket season, it's that. Once per game, you get to decide that you want another copy of a minion that you already have, buffs, modifications, all of that. So you use your Master Cloner hero power on that minion. That sounds like fun. And our last new hero is Exarch Othaar. For 0 gold, the next tavern spell you buy costs 1 less. This also unlocks on turn 3. I am unsure how I feel about this in this moment, because I think that we need to get more into like all of the rest of the reveals, because right now I feel like that's not that good. So you pay 0 gold and you save a gold on a spell. I'm sure it can close some like little money gaps here and there, but as of right now in my head, this doesn't feel like the greatest hero power. I would like to be proven wrong though. All right, we're moving on to our spells. We have a couple leaving, some new ones, and then 3 changes. The first one leaving on tier 1, this is the pointy arrow, which gives a minion +4 attack. I am not mad about that one leaving. On tier 4, for 4 gold, we have the suspicious stimulant. Choose a minion in the tavern, lock it in your hand for 1 turn, and double its stats. I have some very fond memories of playing this with that trinket and that quest reward that cast things twice. But overall, it was pretty expensive and only had some very specific ways in which it was good. Also on tier 4, for 2 gold, Ritual of Growth is leaving. This was replace all cards in the tavern with ones of a higher tier. I actually am really sad to see this one go. That means it's just going to be harder to get to the higher tiered minions. And it was nice to like evolve a whole shop and just see if there was anything valuable there, or maybe some synergy. And when you were on 4, you could find a whole shop of 5s, or you get 2 of them and get a whole shop of 6s, although that was like very unlikely. On tier 5 now for 5 gold, Top of the Beanstalk, which was discover a minion from tavern tier 6, is gone. You want a tier 6 minion, I was gonna say you have to go to tier 5, but that's a lie. I mean, there's Galakron, there's other ways, but that's no longer an option to get a tier 6 minion. And last, leaving, this one hurts my heart. This is on tier 5 for 3 gold, Buddy Up. Discover a buddy is leaving. That means that the only way to get buddies now is to play ETC or steal buddies from ETC. When buddies are not like the main modification to the game, I love buddies, but also I understand how they can absolutely throw power level off, and probably not great when you're bringing in a bunch of new minions and making a bunch leave. Now we'll talk about our changed spells. On tier 4, we have Boon of Beetles. This is 1 gold. And now instead, when you have space in combat, summon 2 beetles and give them taunt. So we no longer get 1 10-10 beetle. And moving down to tier 5 is our 2 gold Saloon's Finest. Refresh the tavern with tavern spells. No longer need to be on 6 to find this spell. And meeting Saloon's Finest, moving up to tier 5, is our Contracted Corpse. This is 3 gold, discover a death rattle minion, no longer on tier 4. As for our new spells, we have on tier 1 for 1 gold, the Alliance Flag. Choose one, give a minion +4 attack or +4 health. Very similar to Pointy Arrow, but you get to choose health instead if you'd like to. On tier 3, we have for 4 gold, Time Management. Choose one, another choose one. Give your minions +2/+2, or at the start of your next turn, give your minions +4/+4. So are you going to die this turn, or can you wait and get double the value? Coming to tier 4 for 4 gold is Boundless Potential, another choose one. Discover a minion of your tier, or a tavern spell of a tier higher. That one is interesting. Now we have 3 new spells on tier 6. The first one for 3 gold is the Knockoff Wisdom Ball. Your next 2 refreshes are helpful. I have really missed Wisdom Ball. I'm very excited for this one. We gotta have a little bit of craziness in here, right? No buddies, so hey, I'll take a Wisdom Ball. On tier 6, also for 4 gold, the Road Less Traveled. Choose one. get a random tier 6 minion or get 2 random tier 5 minions. I could see that being super helpful if you're playing either an odd or an even comp. Also, it's 6 gold, so like regardless, playing that spell is helpful for the amalgam. Last new spell on tier 6 for 3 gold is Fandrel's Fortune. Fandrel. Discover a choose one minion. It has both effects combined, so we're seeing lots of choose one. And I know, you know, the battle cry, death rattle, end of turn, we're seeing a lot of effects being doubled, and there's ways to abuse these things, and choose one, not one of those things. Now we are moving on to our mech reveals. These are some pretty interesting changes. We have a lot of minions leaving, and some of them are really, really important. But we're gonna start with the one that's really, really not important. No, that's rude. It's still important in its own way. This is on tier 1, the Cord Puller. This is a Divine Shield Death Rattle, summon a 1/1 Microbot. I mean, it is a good minion to find on tier 1, on turn 1. Leaving tier 2, we have Kaboombot. This is a Death Rattle, deal 4 damage to a random enemy minion. I used to love this minion so much, and then it came back, and then there was the trinket for it. So that's one of Marin's changes, right? Kaboombot's leaving, so can't find Kaboombot trinket anymore. I'm kind of sad that it did not see its glory days once more. Also leaving on tier 4 is the Utility Drone. At the end of your turn, give your minions +2/+1 for each magnetization they have. That's a pretty interesting one to be leaving, and you'll see why soon. On tier 5, a Noyo Troop is leaving. This was the Taunt, Divine Shield, Death Rattle, summon 3/1/2 mech with Taunt and Divine Shield. That one was very annoying to get through. I'm glad that it's gone, I think. It was nice to play though. I did feel like overall my board was a lot safer. Might have been like a false sense of security, whatever. Also leaving on tier 5 is a Scrap Scraper. This was a Death Rattle, get a random magnetic mech. Now here is the crazy part. We have 3 tier 6s leaving. On tier 6, the Foe Reaper 4000 is leaving. Our Mech Cleave is gone. That's massive. Also on tier 6, the Polarizing Beatboxer is leaving, which whenever you magnetize another minion, it also magnetizes to this. This minion has been so key to like magnetic stacking, like just building onto one magnetic minion and then tripling that magnetic minion and then putting it on another one and tripling that one, and oh, it's crazy. That one's gone. And last, leaving tier 6 is the Whirling Lasso-matic, the Divine Shield Wind Fury. Whenever this attacks, get a random tavern spell. The changes are happening. Actually, speaking of changes, Lullabot is moving down to tier 1, is still magnetic, but at the end of your turn, gain +1 health. So no longer gains the stats that it did, just +1 health. Also changing, not a huge one, but on tier 2, Ancestral Automaton has +2/+2 for each other Ancestral Automaton you've summoned this game, wherever this is. Used to be +2/+1, now up to +2/+2. Our next minion changing is the Clunker Junker, is moving down to tier 4, used to be on tier 5. This is a battle cry. Choose a friendly mech, discover a mech to magnetize to it. And our last change is for our one remaining tier 6 mech minion. Well, Mech Demon. This is Mechajiraxis. We know Mechajiraxis had those 3 offerings of Reborn, Wind Fury, and Taunt. And now Mechajiraxis is getting the Shield of the Legion. This is now a Divine Shield that can magnetize to Mech and Demon. So you no longer, if you are using an Anoyo module to shield a minion and then you have to use the trousers to remove the Taunt, don't have to do that anymore. You can just find Shield of the Legion from Mechajiraxis if Mechajiraxis feels like giving it to you. Now, as for new minions, we have on tier 2, the Frantic Alarmobot. This is crazy. On tier 2, we have a Magnetic Wind Fury. Tier 2. Wind Fury. Also on tier 2, we have the Mechanome Interpreter. Whenever you play a magnetic minion, give it +2/+3. So we're seeing that magnetic additional stat gain already on tier 2. Now on tier 3, this is pretty interesting. Arcanotron Activated. The Taunt. Whenever you cast a tavern spell, give a friendly mech +3/+2. So we all know the Charging Zarina on tier 5 gave additional attack to Divine Shielded minions, not necessarily mech, but we didn't have much tavern spell mech synergy, and it looks like now we are going to have that on tier 3, which is fantastic. On tier 4, we have the Marquee Ticker. At the end of your turn, get a random tavern spell. Even more support for this tavern spell mech situation. It's pretty interesting. Oh, this is a fun one. I was really excited to talk about this one. On tier 5, coming back to us is the Holy Meckerel. This is a 6/4 mech Murloc. After a friendly minion loses Divine Shield, gain Divine Shield. Oh man, this one caused some feelings, and I'm curious if it still will cause some feelings. Man, it was, oh, what a time it was when Meckerel was in Battlegrounds and just kept getting reshielded, and you'd keep, people would taunt it, right? And then it would get hit, and then something else would attack, and then it would shield itself, and it would just slowly pick off a whole board. That being said, I don't remember if Leroy was around at that point, so maybe it won't be as toxic as it was. Get it? Because Murloc joke. I am very intrigued seeing this one come back. Also on tier 5, we have a new minion, Moonsteel Juggernaut. This is a 6/6. At the end of your turn, get a 3/3 magnetic satellite and improve this. I really like the thought of getting this consistent magnetic situation, especially because we see that we're getting buffs for playing magnetic minions, and it's an end of turn effect, so you can use Drakari with it. I really like this minion. On tier 5, the Hollow Rover. This is 4/8 mech. Divine Shield. Whenever this attacks, get a random magnetic mech. So similar to the concept of the Scrap Scraper, but this time it's attacking. So you put the Lassomatic and the Scrap Scraper together, you get the Hollow Rover. Now we just need to attach an Alarmobot to the Hollow Rover, and we have just magnetic mechs for days. Wind Fury is great. Last is our new tier 6 minion. This is Dr. Boom's Monster. This is a 2/2 mech, but it's not really a 2/2. It is a magnetic, and it has +2/+2 for each time you've magnetized this game, wherever this is. I have a feeling that this is going to lead to some pretty insane magnetized mech boards. When I saw everything that was leaving, I was like, oh man, how is this going to work? But I think honestly, this is going to create a really fun situation for mech. I'm very excited to try this. All right, so I think that's it for us today. Come on back here tomorrow around the same time for our next set of reveals, which is Dragon and Naga. Let me know what you think in the comments, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.